All right, everybody, welcome back to the Say Yes Anyway podcast, conversations from the heart, where amazing people have had to say yes to something so deep in their heart that maybe they don't understand it. Maybe you have something in your heart that you have to say yes to and you don't understand it, but you know that you know that you know that you need to, because it's going to get you to the other side. Who you're going to become is so transformative. You don't even know what's even possible on the other side. So today I'm so excited because I have Erika Rothenberger here. She's a force of grit and grace and audacious growth. She is a keynote speaker, a construction executive, a podcast host, an entrepreneur, and helps organizations cultivate audacious leaders. From the job site to on stage, her mission is super clear. It's to help people to rise into unshakable confidence, to rise with clarity, conviction, and purpose, and to rise in the kind of life and leadership that leaves a legacy. So thank you so much for being here, Erika.
Love that. I'm going to go back and replay that every morning. That'll be my jam up song. Thank you.
I love it. Of course. I would love to know, first off, what do you love about yourself and your life right now in this season?
Oh, what a great question. I love this. I'm going to go back to being audacious. I am in my mid-40s, and I will tell you, I'm at a point in my life where I truly believe it is not, they used to call it a midlife crisis. I call it a midlife awakening, where all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I can be so audacious about my dreams and my goals, my family. My kids are at a beautiful age. They're 8 and 11. We're actually leaving next week to head to Alaska and travel for 2 weeks. Wow. And just leaning into that right now in my life and feeling like I don't have to owe it to anyone else. Where 20 years ago where you felt like you had to be in some sort of box, and now just being like, no, I'm going to step into the best version of myself. And it's really exciting.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, that even goes into something I wanted to ask you, because you still work in construction, but at the same time, you have built this amazing, business where you have so many different things going on. You're creating a book, which I'm excited to hear about. You have an event coming up that's so soon. You have women's groups, so many different things. So one, I don't really like to say, how do you do it all? But I mean, you do. But I mean, what does it, I guess, practically even look like to do all of that?
I love it. Okay, so I'm going to start really kind of sassy. I believe that balance is bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't think there's
That's
any
why
such
I was
thing as balance.
when you say do it all, we're not really doing it all, but still there's all the moving parts. So yeah, tell me more.
So it's integration, right? It's just like a machine, right? Parts are going to break down. It's going to stop working some days. Some days it's going to be, calibrating exactly where it needs to be. And there's many days that I feel that everything's running in synergies. And then there's nights like last night, at 11 p.m. where my daughter wakes up and she's projectile vomiting, right? The stuff's going to hit the fan. And I think what we have to stop doing is trying to live that every movement needs to be so strategic, and recognize there's some days that, if say you are a parent on this phone listening in, that you're going to show up as an excellent parent. And there's other days you're going to show up as an excellent podcaster. And there's another day you're going to show up as, a great significant other. But there's going to be times when things are going to feel a little wonky and a little clunky. And so the audacity to do it all is actually one of my keynotes. And the book that I'm writing is called Audacious Expansion. But both of those platforms, and when I talk about that, it's not necessarily doing more. It's really being aligned with what you're doing. So people may say, wow, Erika, you're doing a lot, or you do it all. Well, I'm doing all of the things that really give me energy and get me excited. And I've started saying, there's a chapter in my book where I talk about saying no with a big period, saying no to the things that don't serve me, saying no to the things, because all it is draining of that energy. Totally. And finding the things that I can plug into that really up level that energy, and outsourcing things. I don't bake the brownies for my kids' school. Right? It's not my thing. I don't like to dirty the dishes. I don't like to bake. It doesn't bring me joy. I'll do it every once in a while, around, the holiday time, because I know it brings my kids joy, but it's not my thing. And it's okay to be like, hey, listen, there's another mom out there that's building a business that I'm fueling her dreams because I'm buying the brownies from her.
Yep. Yep.
Right. And so take the brownie analogy or anything in your life and recognize what can you outsource
Mm,
and where can your energy be best plugged into? And then what are the things that aren't really serving you? And so
mhm.
what I've started to do is get really strategic year after year of coming up with like three real big audacious goals that I want to work on
Mm.
outside of being a mom and outside of working and saying, what are those goals? And when I start to get sidetracked or squirrel brained, as I'll say, does that align back to one of those three goals? And if
Mm.
it doesn't, it usually means it's not a, hey, I'll never do it, but it needs to go to the side burner.
I
Because
love
otherwise
that.
you wake up at the end of the year and you're like, okay, I did a lot of a little bit for 12 goals, but I didn't
Yeah.
accomplish anything.
Totally, totally. No, I'm
Yeah.
with you with the alignment because I've personally been through burnout a couple of times and I went back and reflected and I've had people tell me, "Oh my gosh, you're doing too much" or whatnot. And then I realized, wait, it wasn't doing too much, but there were some really big energy drainers, whether that be relationships, even whether that be the wrong things that I was focusing all my energy in, or whether that be what I was creating is not me, where I come alive. So, do you think that obviously people are different because say somebody wanted to speak and do like five things at a time, but maybe they have a different type of I don't know, like personality or they're a different type of person. Do you have kind of how you were talking about the three things that like goals, audacious goals that you have? What would be something that's tangible for anyone? It doesn't matter like what personality they are or what they want to create, but if they have three goals, like how do they actually go through with those and not get so scatterbrained or what do they do when they do get scatterbrained? How do they put that off and like really focus?
Yeah. And I think it's coming up with what those are. And, you can decide those goals like,
Mhm.
so we're in the middle of the year, right? Like, don't wait till January is what I'm saying. Like, you could start this at any month, at any week, at any day and say, hey, what are like, those three things that I really want to work towards? And then what I'll continue to do is every day I have a practice that I get up in the morning and I journal and I read books. I do some, mind work and I write down those three goals every morning. Every
The same
single
three
morning.
ones.
Those same three ones every morning. So they're in my conscious and my subconscious all of the time.
So are they like the big vision goals? Say it's
Yes.
like
So I'll give
book,
you an example.
podcast,
My three,
event. Okay.
yeah. So I'll give you the example for this year. So my
Right.
three goals for this year were 10 extremely aligned speaking events. Right, that
Right.
I was going to speak on the right stages in front of the right people and get the right message out. Number two was hosting successfully selling out my Audacious Summit, which is on October 17th. And
Yes.
my third
Love it.
one was to finish my 50,000 word book,
Love it.
Audacious Expansion, and get it published in January. So
Amazing.
every morning I write as it already happened.
Yeah.
I spoke on 10 of the most amazing aligned stages and I can feel like the visceral energy happening. I
Mm-hmm.
like the outpouring that came from the event of the summit was absolutely amazing. People are applauding and I can feel it. And then
Mm-hmm.
I'll write, the last word of the book was written and it's on the New York's bestseller time list and I can see it at the airport. The other day I was walking through the airport and I literally took a picture of the bookshelf like where you like any bookstore and I actually took a picture of my book and overlaid it that it's going to be there 6 months from
Love
now.
it. Love it. Yeah,
Right.
that
So start to feel it in your body. And then when the next thing comes in, this what I call my squirrel brain that I want to go do this or I want to do that. I say, is this going to feed one of those things? And if
mm,
it's not feeding one of the things, can I still do it and not have it take away too much of the time? Or is it
mhm.
going to completely take me off track?
Yeah, yeah, that's so good. I love that too so much because at least for myself, that's helped me a ton is getting into that visualization. Like I visualize it. I don't just write it, but then I feel what it's like in my body. Like what does it feel like? Where am I? What does it smell like? Who's in front of me? All of those things that you said, I think is so powerful and so key. And because otherwise it's like I'm a huge component of vision boards, like put the pictures, put all of that up there. But then you need to feel it again. Like we go
Yes.
towards like the emotion, and if it's not strong enough, then we don't actually want to do it. So I
And
love
I
that
think
you
as
do that.
much as even feeling it, so some people may be listening to it right now, they're like, well, that's kind of deep, like feeling it and like smelling it. Because I used to be that way. I was like, this sounds so wonky, right? Like
Yeah.
now I do that and it's just, it comes to me naturally, but it takes
Right.
work and it takes practice. But if you're not quite there yet, the
Mm-hmm.
other thing that I would do is what I gave you before is like my book on that bookshelf and put that up on your wall. Put that somewhere so you literally already see it because most of us are visual creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And when we see it, we can believe it more
Mm-hmm.
versus just the feeling of it too. I think love the feeling part. To me, that's like the whole next level. And I love that you do that. But I really think actually seeing it,
Mm-hmm.
or like when I wanted to be a TEDx speaker, I took myself and put myself on the red circle before I was even the speaker, and it was on my vision board like it already happened. And so every
Yeah.
morning I would look at that vision board and be like, of course I'm going to be a TEDx speaker.
Oh
I
yeah.
had no idea what the heck it was going to happen.
Yeah. Do you ever have times where people are like, oh, that's such a great dream, like way to go, but don't really believe it's possible?
Oh, 100%.
And
And
then
I
what?
do too.
Yeah.
I'm human, right? Like there was times when
Exactly.
I told you I was going to lead a 170 woman summit and like
Mhm.
literally plan what I would say is like an all day wedding, like,
Yeah.
with the amount of planning and time. And I'm like, how the heck am I doing this?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but once you say it out loud,
Mhm.
you are, once you write it down, you're 43% more likely to make it happen. And that's why I write it every day. And
Totally.
then if you tell someone else, so I just told you all three of my goals,
Yeah.
and I say it
Love
all of
it.
the time
And
to all the
everybody
people.
here is listening to it.
And I'm like, now sugar, now I got to make it happen. You're 78% more likely to make it happen. Just, you haven't even done any of the work. I
Yeah.
mean, the work comes along with it. Let's face it. There's a lot of tireless nights and early mornings and all the things. But so what I would suggest to anyone that's listening to this right now, who's like stuck and is like, where do I start?
Mhm.
Come up with those three goals. But even take it one step further. For the next month, pull your journal every morning
Mhm.
and just write all the things. Take 5 minutes, put a timer on. Don't make this a long process and write all the things that you wish would come to fruition. And then over the next 30 days, look at the common threads that keep coming up. And if you
Mm.
keep writing that you want to run the marathon, then that's probably one of your goals.
Yeah.
Well, now you actually have to find a marathon you want to run. Now you actually have to go out and actually do the running. Now find a partner that like is going to be your running partner, right? And just start to put the wheels because action leads to so much of that catalyst.
Totally. Totally. So what would you say to somebody that, I mean, you even said a minute ago that, some people don't believe in your dreams, or sometimes you get maybe tripped up or you feel stuck, like, how am I going to do this? So how do you keep going? Say, for example, like an event that you put on, it's getting closer to the date and there's only 5 people that are signed up. Like, how do you keep going when it feels like it's so far away, but it's, like, yeah, how do you do that?
Yeah. And you know what I'll say? It's those suck days,
Mm,
right? It is those days when you feel like nothing's working, nothing's going your way, you're batting like average is zero,
yep,
right? Like you are just not swinging right.
yeah.
And I would, people can look at social media and hear and like, I'm really proud of all the things that I've accomplished, but I have a bunch of those days,
Yeah.
but they've turned into moments. And I allow
Totally.
myself to be in the suck for a small period of time,
Mhm.
but then to have something conscious to do. And to me, it is the action. And the action could be, I'm shutting the book and I'm actually not going to do anything, but you made an action to to say I'm going to do it. It could be putting on my weighted vest and saying I'm going to go for a half an hour walk to clear my head,
Yeah.
which is usually the biggest thing that works for me. Hey, I'm going to
Yeah.
put on a podcast that I know is going to inspire me and go lift a couple weights. Like
Mhm.
whatever that is, I think you need to have when you feel that way. It's just like if you had a really bad headache, most of us are going to go get an Advil, right? What is the thing that you're going to do when you get in that stuck or that suck
Mhm.
period and it feels grimy and it feels not good and it's going to happen, especially if you're pushing your envelope.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
what are
Yeah,
the
when you're
things
when
that
you're being audacious, when you're
yes,
expanding, right? Actually, I had a thing just a couple days ago because I had an incident a couple years ago. some accident. And since then, my body's just never been the same. So I was experiencing massive anxiety and stress just a few days ago, where I was just like, what is all of this? And like, it was almost paralyzing. And I was like, what is happening? And I felt like the buzzing. I felt like my head, neck, like everything was throbbing. And I was like, is this what anxiety feels like? And anyway, I, instead of keeping going on what I was working on, I ended up realizing, I was like, wait, I need the energy to come out somehow. And I ended up doing some somatic releasing to like get the energy out and like some certain body movements. And then I didn't end up working the rest of the day because I needed to rest after that. And it's like one of those things that I think we can beat ourselves up about, because I do that, where I'm like, dang it, you should have gotten back up. You should have kept going. You should whatever, and stop shitting all over yourself. But it's like, now I'll give myself a hug and be like, no, look at your body and how much work it's doing every single day. Like, be kind to her. So I love what you're
And I love that
about.
you say that, because I have a podcast. We just had 160 episodes, and
Amazing.
it's grit, grace, and glitz, which obviously you know well. And really, it's the gritty side. It's taking the action and doing the audacious things every day. And then on the other side of it is the glitz, which is, hey, celebrating all those things that you're doing every day. So at the end of the day, hey, did I lose some? Yeah. Did I win more than I lost? Yeah. And making sure you're celebrating all of those wins from the day. And the win could be like, hey, I ate healthy today. The win could be, hey, listen, I got dressed today and took a shower. Like, these wins don't have to be these massive things. But in the middle there, the reason I chose the word grace is there has to be the connection of grace in between. Being gritty and celebrating like the glitz, you have to give yourself the grace in between. And that the grace may be, hey, I celebrated that I actually got up and brushed my teeth and went to work today.
Yeah.
Right? And there's other days where like you're moving mountains and like, but if you're not giving yourself that grace or that bridge in between, like you can just feel like you're constantly on that hamster wheel or constantly like hitting your head against the wall. And to me, that's such an important component there.
Yeah. This is to all you ladies who have that whisper, that knowing that you're made for more. You're made for more than where you have been going. You're not the same version of yourself that you were 5 years ago. You're the new version of yourself now. So you either have a business, you have a nonprofit, you're a leader in the world, and you know that you're pivoting. You know that you want to create more expansive goals. You desire to be a better version of yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And you also want to create the business that's going to impact more lives, that is more aligned with you, whether that's creating more aligned offers, whether that is speaking, whether that's podcasting, whether that's creating a community, whether that's launching something, a book, whether that's something else that you just know that you've been maybe playing small or holding back in some sort of way, and it's ready. You're ready now. This Dreams to Reality Mastermind, I'm so excited because we have 6 months where we're diving in deep with a community of women that get it, a community of women that are all ready to go to that next level, that are there to grow, that are ready to learn, that are taking their business and their impact to the next level and in helping more people. This is about helping those that you really care about. Maybe you have a story that you are using for a purpose. You're taking your pain into the next level of your purpose. And what you can do is you can contact me. You can go to my Instagram, which is Jess Dahl, JessDahl with an underscore, or you can go to my website, jessdahl.com. And if any of this resonated at all, let's talk about it. Let's see if this is for you. I want to make sure that it's an aligned fit. So go ahead. Don't wait around. Your next level is waiting for you. This is your next chapter that you're ready to start in for your life. It's time to start with that blank slate, and let's do this. So what does resilience mean to you? Because obviously it doesn't mean keep going, when you need to give yourself grace. So what does resilience mean to you? And when in your life have you had to be really resilient?
Great question. So I'm going to answer the first question, and what does resilience mean to me? And the way I like to define it is resilience isn't something you're born with. It's not something that you can ship on 2-day Amazon Prime. Last time I checked it, there was no like, hey, the button for resilience. I can't pick it up at Walmart. Resilience is something you have to work on every day. Just like your mindset, just like going to the gym, just like eating healthy or drinking your water or whatever it is. Like it is something you need to work on. It is like a muscle. You have to continue to flex it. You have to continue to work it. And there's going to be days that it feels really tired. There's going to be days that it's not working. And you know what I mean? Like, just like, hey, listen, you go to the gym and, you're not going to have a good workout, right? There's going to be days. And so understanding that resilience doesn't mean always being like Teflon. And I think we think that, hey, we're resilient, so we're always going to cut through it. Sometimes being resilient is saying, hey, listen, I do need to take that time out. I do need to take that no. And being resilient enough to know yourself well enough to know when you need that pause and when you need that push. And I'm not saying you want to live in the pause. Every once in a while we have to, but you need to be willing to like push yourself. And the more you work that muscle and the more you're building it before the punch actually happens, the better you're going to be. And it's like to deal with whatever that punch is, whatever the thing that comes your way. And speaking of punches, I'll back you up 3 years ago and really where this whole Audacity came from and where I really felt that I needed to expand. I always thought I was playing big, and yes, I have the girl with the hard hat and the steel toe boots, and I have 2 kids and everything short of the white picket fence and the dog running in the yard. And I realized I was really not playing the true version of who Erika Rothenberger was supposed to be. And that's where Audacity and resilience really was formed. And I was a normal day, June 16th, like any other day. I drove to work, was drinking this Himalayan sea salt water that they told me I was going to get a glowy complexion with. The kids were with the sitter. The dad was in Kansas City. And I pulled into the parking lot where I had worked for over 10 years. The parking lot that I parked in every morning in this beautiful little town, and thinking, wow, life is pretty good, Erica. It's 2022. Life's looking good. Like, looked in the rear view mirror, was like, okay, got this. And then I thought to myself, is this really all it? And what I didn't know what was going to happen that day was that I was going to open that car door. And when I opened that car door, there he was. You see, it was a man I had never seen before. And unbeknownst to me, a man that had been in prison for 12 years. A man who, when I asked him, sir, can I help you, punched me straight in the face and grabbed me by the hair and threw me to the asphalt pavement and beat me to a living pulp. I thought I was a rag doll and not a human. He didn't like that I was fighting and screaming and biting and trying to get back. And the resilience that I had built for so many years really came shining through that day. To the point that all of a sudden he took the large crease of his elbow and put it under my neck. And I thought it was my last breath on earth. I thought it was the last moment that I would be mom to Drew and Adeline. The last time I would be a wife to Andy. The last time that I would take that breath on earth. And was I leaving the true audacious self, my true legacy that I wanted to leave? And before he squeezed so tight that it made me black out, I thought about that. Like, is that really going to happen? And when I say that, I don't mean consciously I was sitting there thinking that I was in survival mode, right? But when I look back at that moment, that's what was the catalyst to build this resiliency and to build that audacity and say, you know what? Like, we never know what our punch is going to be. And someone that's listening to this right now, okay, you may have not have been a bloody mess or had been assaulted, but you may have that child that has a terminal illness. You may have a parent that you're caring for. You may have been a victim of a rape. You may have, dealt with something that has been your own punch in life, because we all have them. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And what are you doing now to build that muscle? And what I recognized is I was doing so many things before that, with journaling, with working out, with mindset work, that got me prepared for that moment, not thinking that moment was ever going to happen to me. But when it happened and when the punch actually happened, I was able to use that muscle that I'd been building for so long that I didn't need in my day-to-day life typically, right? Like, my biggest sense of resilience was, hey, did I pack the kids' lunches? And you know what I mean? Am I going to make it to the game on time or into the board meeting, with 2 shoes that are the same color? And what I recognized is that muscle came flying out that day. That muscle was stronger than ever and was my strength moving forward. And so how are you building that resilience now is really what I ask someone that's listening to this.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That was like so vivid, and I cannot imagine. That is so crazy. So,
and I'll just take it one step further. It's 3 years later, and it's been such a gift in so many ways, as crazy as that sounds, to the point that even today, earlier, I will still go to court with him one more time. I've been to court with him 8 times, and there were 5 other victims before me.
No way.
And really 5 other survivors.
In the same way? Like, is there
the night before, 4 women were assaulted in the streets of Philadelphia. No one understands why he made it from New York to Pennsylvania.
And is there a theme of like the type of women and why?
Then the next morning, he slept at a homeless shelter. The next morning, got on local transportation, got off at a surrounding town, and actually raped a woman. Took her phone, got back on the bus, changed his clothes, got back off the bus, and that's when I was departing my car. And if it wasn't, for the resiliency that came out that day, for me being able to run for help, he probably would have escaped in that car, and most likely probably would have run me over. Because my car was open, the key was in it, he couldn't find how to start the car. And to this day, and again, including today, I am still working with legislation to get a law passed that will be called actually the Erika's Law, because strangulation in Pennsylvania, when you get strangled by someone it's a felony. When someone you don't know, it's a misdemeanor.
Whoa.
And I really feel that strongly, that when something like this happens to us, it's doing something positive about it. Whose life am I going to change? My sentencing is not going to change with him now, but whose life will change because someone else has to go through this in the future.
Oh, 100%. Wow. So then, oh geez, I feel like I have a million questions. So, so this happened, and then you have this reality check with yourself, as you look back of, oh my gosh, am I living my more? So what does it look like for you now, obviously with the work that you're doing, but taking people to their next level, and to live their audacious self? Like, what does that actually look like? Like, what do you want to help people with to live their audacious self? And why is that important?
Because in that moment, and when I say in the moment, I don't literally mean the day the attack was happening. When I say the moment, I say, it's the whole chain of events that happened after that.
Yeah.
And what I recognize is being in that hospital room and hearing the beeps, and the doctors who were phenomenal, and the nurses who were, overarching, just incredible, the medication, the detectives, the reports. What I recognized in that day, and that those moments thereafter, and weeks and months and now years later, was there was one component that actually really brought me back to life. And it became my oxygen. And that oxygen was connection. Connection with other people. The people that showed up at my doorstep, the calls that I got, my sister jumping in her car without thinking twice and making sure she was in my hospital room, my husband jumping on the first flight from Kansas City, my kids' giggles in the pool weeks later, that were my life. And what I realized is now I can be that life for someone else. And so to me, it's coming full circle and showing other people that by audaciously expanding, by doing some of those things that are hard, let's not think about it just selfishly of how can I change my life, but how can I change other people's lives? Because at the end of the day, when you go back and you start interviewing people who are in their 80s, 90s, 100 years old, and you ask them, what do they wish they did? They wish they took those audacious steps. Totally. They wish they didn't play so small. They wish they served more, took more time to make those connections with people. It's not the car that they drove or the purse that they had or the money that was in the bank account. Not that that stuff isn't great, but it really comes back to how do I serve? So what I'm really unpacking in my book and at the summit and my mastermind that's going to start in 2026 is how can we bring people into that space that they feel comfortable enough to unlock it? Because once you unlock it, damn, it feels good.
It
It's
does.
been the best form of therapy for me.
Yeah, that's so good. So what are some, I guess, in your expansion, what does that look like for you to like unravel this reality of your life isn't what it was and then getting to the next level? Is that like emotionally getting to the next level and expanding? Is that in, getting rid of the things that don't matter in your life and expanding? Is that like really going after your audacious goals and that's how you expand? Like, yeah, how has that been for you?
I think it's all the above,
Yeah.
right? And I think, like, again, it's not all the above every day, but it's deciding to say no to the things that don't serve me, say yes to the things that fuel me, serving the people that I know deserve my energy, and then I'm surrounding myself with those people.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a method, and you can read about it in the book. It's in one of my keynotes, but it's called Bold, and it really talks about those the each of the letters there and what you need to start to do to unpack yourself that way.
Mm,
And it really gives you a method to start to say, okay, listen, I love what you're saying, but how do I do it?
mm,
And at the end of every chapter, there's a journal prompt and there's actually things that I actually challenge you to go and do because
mm-hmm.
without the action, they're just words.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think it's like really a big deal to make sure that you decide and reminding ourselves that everyone's expansion is very different. It's like a rubber band,
Yeah.
right? Some people are ready to stretch it super wide right now. It may not be your time. Your
Mm,
expansion may be like, I'm going to finally leave the house for maybe you've dealt with something, right?
yeah.
My expansion could be like, hey, listen, I'm actually going to put my sneakers on and go for that first quarter mile walk.
Mm,
Right? Like,
mm-hmm.
I want to remind everyone that when you hear audacious, sometimes you think it needs to be so big and so bold and so brave.
Mm,
No, sometimes it's just the little things. Because to me, it's all the little things that I did after this assault
mm-hmm.
that led to this big movement. It wasn't that I woke up the next day and was like, I'm going to be a speaker and run a summit and write a book. It was because of all of the work that I had done that now, 3 years later, are leading to that point.
I love that. What were some things that came to you in your process after the assault that got you to realize, oh, I do want to speak. I do want to, connect women in events. Like, was there something that happened? Did you just realize that's what you loved to do? Was, you're in a pivoting season. How did that come about that these are the things you wanted to do?
Yeah, I love that question, Jessica. Well, I think it was always in me.
Mm,
I just think I was just living small and
yeah,
saying, you know what, like life is good. I got the job. I'm
right.
the engineer. I have my MBA. I have the two kids. Life is good.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized going through this process that I was missing something and I didn't know what that something was. And I think you have to do a lot of soul searching and figure out what is that something. And I'd always loved speaking, right? Like I'd already had my podcast. I was like, but I also realized that through all of it, again, goes back to that connection point that I was like, I love connecting with other people. I love hearing, especially other women's stories, especially like, and how can I help them and how can I serve them?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden it doesn't feel like work. It feels like you're on like a mission. And I say, listen, this book, this summit, this mastermind, these are movements. They're not just a check off the box. This isn't a
Mm-hmm.
nicety. It's a, hey, this was the oxygen that opened me up to that next level. And I
Mm,
truly believe when you're willing to serve, that's when it comes full circle, right? Like look at anyone that's like, quote unquote in our world made it, right? Like, billionaires, like all these people, like the end of the day, like it's actually then goes full circle is it's giving back
yeah, totally.
when you feel like you can really complete.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm no billionaire, but maybe one day.
Yes, one day claim it. I'm with you on that.
So
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think that what I've found with most people and myself too, if it's whenever I'm just so focused on myself and my problems or other people as well, we don't feel alive because we're designed to connect. Like we are designed, wired, created to connect. We can't do life alone. We have to be in community. We have to be supported and supporting and giving of ourselves. And so I love that that's a big part of your mission. It's a huge part of mine too. And what keeps me going is like, okay, if I can learn from what I've been through and then teach it or empower others or whatever that is, I mean, that's where huge fulfillment comes in, like more than the money or more than the stuff. Like those are nice, but it's like, oh my gosh, it's like this internal fulfillment, you know? At least that's what I feel.
And there's
I
a
think that
couple
you
things that are going to be certain, right? Like we know there's always going to be change. Most of us, especially, living in America, know we're going to have to pay taxes. And
Yeah,
and we're all going to leave this earth at some point.
totally.
What is the legacy you want to leave?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
is what you're doing right now going to leave the legacy that 20, 30, 50 years, people are going to remember you? And I don't mean with fame. And if it's fame, great, but remember like who you were.
Yeah.
And I want when my great grandchildren, they're like, oh, your great grandmother was the most audacious, bold, brave, woman. And have little Sally 3 generations from now, whatever her name is going to be like, wow, like that's going to give her like the legacy because it's the breadcrumbs I'm leaving today.
Yeah.
That are
Absolutely.
going to impact my future generation. Stop that generational curse if you have it in
Yeah.
your family, right? And how are you going to leave the next level of legacy? How are you taking that baton, just like you're running the 400 and handing it off to the next person and making sure you're giving them as much strength and as much gusto as you can because they just feel who you are and that you truly want to serve them and lead them to success.
I love that. If you could do anything differently on your journey, what would that be?
God, we need about 7 hours, right? Like, you hear all these things and you're like, oh, she must know, like, she must have such a clear mess. I'm not that person. There's plenty of roadblocks that have come in the way. And I would say, I would go back to that message is like, before my actual quote unquote punch happened, literally or figuratively, I felt like I was kind of just playing a little too safe and knew there was something bigger in me, but didn't know like how or why to do it. And just, I had like this like little inner like voice telling me like, do something more, like you're missing something. And I just kept like kind of stifling it down, like, stop, like things are good. And until that happened, and I don't want your reminder to be the punch in your life. Start doing it now, right? Like use me as your catalyst to this story to be like, yeah, because that next day you could be in that parking lot, right? You could get the news about someone, we just don't wait.
Yeah.
If you have that hunch, go and do it. Take the action, take the step.
Yeah, I love that. And if you could tell your younger self anything, what would you tell her?
Oh, man. I would tell her a lot of things. I would just say, I think the biggest thing is just bet on yourself, right? Like every day you are the only person that you can control, that you can change, that you can, dictate what's really going to happen and start betting on yourself more. I think we wait for so much external validation to like, ooh, did they give me the promotion? Do they think I'm ready for this? You need to be the catalyst to those things. And you are the one that's going to be the driving force. And you need to be your biggest advocate every day. And I try to instill that in my kids, right? Like, okay, you didn't do well on a test. Go back and talk to the teacher and ask them, is there something else you could do? Right? Like start to teach yourself just to be that advocate. And it's because I've knocked on the doors. I've pulled my seat up to the boardroom table. It's because I've raised my hand and asked to do something that has opened a lot of doors for me. But there was many times I didn't raise my hand. There was many times I didn't sit around that board table. There was many times that I would wear the traditional blue navy suit and not the pink pants that I wanted to because it felt safe. But I wasn't showing up as the true version of myself.
Yeah. That's good. Wow, I love that. And then is there anything else that you want to leave with the audience?
I just want to remind you to go out there and, going back to both my podcast and Audacity is go out there and be gritty. Do the hard work. It's not going to be easy. nothing anyone has ever built. We see the success, we see the fame, we see all of that, but it's going to be like sandpaper. And when the punches start coming and when things aren't going your way, it means you're testing. It means you're growing. It means you're ready to next level. And I always say, new level, new devil, right? Like you're going to like experience things and the sandpaper is going to get really gritty, right? Mm-hmm. But to give yourself that grace, to understand that like Rome wasn't built in a day. Things are going to take time to keep going, right? There's that analogy where like you're so close to the diamond, but you just don't keep chipping away and you got to keep going because that's when you become that 2%er. That's when you become that 1%er to next level and to celebrate the things that are going on in your life, to celebrate the small wins every day, but then ultimately be audacious, be willing to be the boldest version of yourself today. And whatever that is, right? That could be something so simple to be able to then it's a compound effect. Every day, if you're working on that 1%, what we can do over the course of a year, never mind over a decade, never mind over several decades. Mm-hmm. It's just amazing the mountains you can move.
So good. And I know that you have your summit, you have your book coming up. How can people find you and know more about that?
Absolutely. Well, there's only a few tickets left to the summit. So please, if you're listening to this, go on my website, www.erikarothenberger.com. You can find everything just about me, short of the white picket fence, which I don't have anyways. Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, always a great place to be. My book comes out in January. I cannot wait to get it in the hands of so many of you. And, super excited for all that's to come, Jessica. I really, really honor you and thank you for having me today.
Oh my gosh, I loved this. Thank you so much. This was amazing. Everybody go follow her, go check her out, go to her event. It's going to be incredible. Can't wait to read your book. And thank you so much for being here, Erika.
Thanks for having me.
I just love Erika. I loved that conversation with her. Such a vibrant spirit and powerful story of us being able to wake up now and not take life and play small because we're made for more. And I know that you're made for more. I hope that you continue to follow along, follow her, follow what's coming up next. And if there's any women right now that are listening, or maybe you're going to forward this to somebody, but you currently have a business, you currently are in a place of expansion, you know that you're made for more, you know that there is something else that you desire to create, something else that you know that you need to align with, not with the version that you were 5 years ago, but with who you are right now. So in your personal life, in your business life, and you're ready to go to that next level, I have the Dreams to Reality Mastermind. Please go to jessdahl.com and you can get on the wait list. You can chat with me, or you can get in touch with me on Instagram, JessDahl_, and let's have a conversation. Let's hop on a call. Let's see if it's for you, because as this conversation was with Erika, it's true. Life is way too short. You are made for more. There's some sort of purpose within you. And I want to help you do that in our Dreams to Reality Mastermind. All right. I love you. I hope that you have an amazing, amazing day, and we will see you so soon.